Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Gruber Wired. I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and welcome once again.
Welcome in, and, we're a little wilted.
Wilted.
Wilted. It's 110 again today.
Yeah, and 114 by Saturday. So we had a nice little dip in our temperatures where we got to be down around the 95, but we're shooting back up, right?
I am not okay with this. It is not good.
Well, as I said a week ago, it's going to be good, right?
Eventually.
Yeah. So yeah, we're still roasting here.
Yes.
Outside. So
yeah, I know. We could just replay the beginning of every podcast for like the last 6 months now.
kind of like Groundhog Day, that
right?
movie,
I feel like it.
In fact, they should just re-release that movie as a number 2, but just play the original over again.
I think that'd be brilliant.
just go with it.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
So yeah, lots of fun stuff going on. Business has been going really good here, and yeah, just popping. Lots of fun stuff and fun activities taking place. Lots of growth all around the country. This kind of time period, I thought things might slow down, with politically speaking and changing over from summer to winter, but we've actually seen a spike in the activity across the country.
Yeah, well, with that dollar continuing to erode, it's better to spend the money now than later.
Right. But no, we got lots more data center information.
Yeah.
Data centers here in the Phoenix area are just exploding. I mean, they're just coming up like wildflowers everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So we're excited to be part of it.
Yes. Yeah, it is great. Lots of good stuff going down. We got to talk, one of our production assistants here, Cass, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Most of you may know. Yep. There we go. Cass, you want to tell us a little bit about your bike? Maybe show us what it looks like there?
For sure. I got lucky and I got a Kawasaki ZX4R, which is their more sporty version of their Ninja 400.
There we go. Look at
that. There he is. I call him Monarch, but he is my latest addition to my family.
There you go.
It is definitely different being back on a bike again after having an accident about 5 months ago.
Yeah.
But he actually just got lowered, so I will no longer tiptoe on my bike. It won't be such a struggle for me to kind of teeter-totter, especially in the beginning when you find your friction zone and you shift from neutral first. I kind of have to teeter-totter a little bit so then I can actually get my left foot up to shift down to first.
Wow.
Very good.
Yeah, going off an accident like that, I think I'd be afraid just to hop right back on, but you kind of have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're going to do.
I mean, this is your thing, right, Cass?
Yeah,
it's your thing.
It definitely feels like flying. It's kind of hard to explain like what it's like being a biker. It's different. But equestrians do it all the time. They fall off the horse and get back on.
Right?
Yeah. So congrats.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally cool.
Thank you.
Totally cool. Who else got a new vehicle recently? Did you get one?
Nope.
No. Jesse did, didn't you, Jesse?
No, I did not.
Jesse's like, no.
I got no vehicles. I got a new SUV, but it's not like an EV or anything that I was gonna plan on getting. But it's nice to upgrade every now and then.
Yeah. So what year Pinto is that?
Or is it the Fiero?
The Fiero, remember those? Well,
or the Nova.
Hey, we had a Nova. In fact, my parents had bought my younger brothers originally the 3-door Nova. Remember those? Had the back hatch that opened all the way up.
Yeah. I had a Datsun B210 that had the hatchback.
Yeah.
Yep. You know why the cars didn't sell well in like Spanish-speaking countries, right?
Why?
Because Nova means doesn't go.
That's funny. Well, let's hope that things do get going and they're going into space, right?
Space.
I mean, yeah.
Final frontier.
The final frontier.
As far as we know.
Working there. But yeah, no, things are speeding up as far as we could say, especially communications when it comes to space exploration. And one of the big headlines that's really out there right now is, Elon Musk, SpaceX, looking to get to Mars. Yep. And once they get there established, maybe, some human residents on Mars,
right,
and taking a look at what's there. One of the big key factors and problems that they're having, though, is understanding how the communications will work.
right.
We do have a general knowledge and understanding of that, but you still have to understand there's limitations in our communications. The time lapse that it takes, for instance, you can only go as fast as the speed of light.
Right.
I mean, we know that from working with fiber optic cabling. Well, you get to that point and that's it. So from now where we stand, it takes approximately 24 minutes to get a signal from Earth to Mars.
Right.
Okay, which is great. That, to me, that's 24 minutes going that distance, right? At the speed of light. But then you got to think, to get a message back that you might be waiting on, you're looking at 48 minutes
until they figure out the qubit thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The quantum bits, then,
yeah, that will change the whole spectrum of everything. So, hey, if you pull up picture number 1, Jesse, we've all seen these before. These are out there, and you probably really see them all around anymore. Just basic satellite dishes, right?
Yep.
So how this actually really works, you have a transmitter and a receiver, and they use just basic magnetized radio waves.
Yeah.
With these to be able to take and broadcast data from one location to the next, and vice versa. And go ahead.
One of my customers is my very first customer was the National Radio Astronomy Observatory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They were the first ones I ever sold to here at Gruber.
So what were they purchasing?
Mini Cat 6 cables.
Cat 6 cables.
Cat 6 minis. Yeah.
The little guys. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's a 28 gauge wire. I mean, just reducing that whole footprint.
Yep.
And but the basics of communications are going to stay the same, right?
Right.
So it's a matter of understanding what the basics are: transmitter, receiver, and so forth. And then how do we implement that in order to get signals where we need them to out in space?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Itchy nose.
Itchy nose.
Yeah. No, definitely. So, I mean, especially with like lasers and things like that.
Yeah.
They've really come a long way as far as the types of communication mediums available.
Sure.
We deal a lot with solely with wired communication. I mean, that's what we sell, are the wires that connect, right?
Yeah.
But different forms of wireless transmission, the digital waves, right? And lasers can be used to communicate. So
yeah, and when you start to talk about the basics of where we're at, you have to understand the fundamentals takes place here at home. Okay,
right.
We're talking about space, which is out there, but here at home, I mean, throughout all 7 of the continents, on Earth, we have satellite systems, structures, all of these communication devices in play,
right?
For this, and
they're pointing in,
correct,
and to communicate in space, we're gonna have to be pointing out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a moving target.
Always.
Mars is going to be, moving around.
It's constantly in motion, right? As we are too.
How would they do it when like Mars is opposite the sun? It's on the other side of the sun.
Probably by using relay satellites, I imagine.
Yeah.
We'll get into that too.
No subspace beachons or anything like that.
Yeah. Right. Having those relays out there in space. Yeah. In fact, if you pull up picture number 2, we kind of have I'll show you what across around the Earth itself, I should say. And we all know about this. There are just millions of these things, it seems like nowadays, right? Especially with SpaceX that's launched up there with all the internet that's going on. But we have to take and first of all get a signal to these guys, right? Yep. And then that signal can get amplified from there to get the signal broadcast, say, the moon, to Mars where the rovers are, the equipment that might be up there that needs that. But one of the biggest issues that they run into is the environment. And that's something that they don't talk enough about. Space is a very harsh environment.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's where we're talking about some different types of cabling and jackets, harsh environment jackets, in regards to the cabling itself. But these things do deteriorate over time, especially in these types of environments.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when it's unintended consequences, right? I mean, so you build stuff and you think it's going to work in theory, but you don't really know until you get there exactly how things are going to react. You can assume based on what how it's going to work, but
Yeah, best educated guess, for now. Or you can be Elon Musk and you can send a Tesla up and just fire it off into space, which he has.
With Rocket Man.
With Rocket Man. Now, I'm not sure where this thing is at right now. I know it's already made, I think, a full, complete orbit around. But I'm not sure where it's at now, but it's still out there floating. And I guarantee that we're still receiving signals back from that thing and the condition, understanding the environment, how the materials break down.
I wonder if there's a website on Where's Rocket Man.
There might be. Jesse, can you take a look, see if there's still a website up for Rocket Man?
Starman, yes.
Starman. That's it. With the Rocket Man, we're thinking Elton John here, right?
Yeah, he would have run into a copyright infringement if you would have called it that. Yeah.
But these type of things are taking place out there so we can understand the environments that we're working in.
Right.
Because eventually we're going to have to understand if we're going to take and get these signals back and forth, we're going to be using things such as lasers, right?
Right.
And to try and get, we're limited again to the speed of light. So how do you take that? How do you enhance that in order, to get the communications properly where you need to go? Right. And that's all going to deal with, I guess, increasing bandwidth. Making larger packets of data, like you said, qubits and so forth, to really just get this data in one setting and get it out there in a large packet.
Right. Well,
I think we found it. Now,
find Starman?
There's a lot of advertising on this website, so I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but we'll see.
Yeah, for those of you who are unaware, Elon Musk took a Tesla Roadster and put
it's out here.
Mannequin in it and launched it into space. How long ago was that?
Oh, look, he's going to do a real close pass of Mars there, huh?
It's funny you bring up Starman because back in January when I went to visit Hawaii, we were climbing up Mount Haleakala. Mount Haleakala is like one of the tallest mountains, especially on Hawaii. And so we go up and we're getting above the clouds. And my youngest brother, he's 6 years old, he goes, "It's like we're in heaven or in space, like we're almost in space." And I go, "Well, not really." And then I go, "Did you know that there's a Tesla Roadster in space?" He goes, "No, that's cap." Meaning that's it. You're lying to me.
Right.
A 6-year-old told me cap.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness. But he goes, "No, that's cap." And I go, "No, there's literally a Tesla Roadster in space." And I showed it to him and he thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it is cool. That's the same as cool, but you have to also understand, as cool as that could be, I'm sure this is all done for being able to study, what's taking place out there with the environment in regards to different types of materials. So yeah, there's where Starman's at right now, cruising around the universe there, huh?
Very cool.
Yeah, good old Elon Musk. He's doing a lot for space exploration, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, and I had heard that I think it's on the drawing board to send 3 unmanned capsules to Mars.
That's supposed to be later this year, correct? Or 2025?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be like fired off all at the same time.
No, I'm sure they'll be in different stages.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Since they won't let him go get the astronauts at the space station, then
right?
He's just going to go, "All right, well, I'm just going to send them on then."
That is funny. Can we go to picture number 3 now? We were just speaking about bandwidth, and that's something where you're going to see, again, relay satellites being able to control more bandwidth so they can accept these. And this is a visualization of the laser.
That's not a real world
No,
picture.
It's not real world, unfortunately.
No.
It's a nice representation, though. But using these lasers, with the bandwidth that we can to be able to get the information needed, because they want to get to Mars. When you're talking 24 minutes. Now, 24 minutes isn't a lot in our time, right?
Right.
But in an emergency situation, that's life or death. That's a long time.
Could be.
It is here on planet Earth,
Yeah.
when you're in a situation or a scenario that's going on. So just the amount of bandwidth that we can use to be able to take that and get those
Well, yeah, and I think there's a few movies that kind of depict that, where they send off the message and then they have to wait, an hour for the reply because it takes, 25 minutes to get there.
It's funny you say that, though. There are definitely some movies that do predict that and show that,
Right.
where other sci-fi movies don't.
No. They do it in real time
They
just
do real
because
time,
people get bored. They wouldn't like the reality of it.
Sit in the movie theater and wait 24 minutes to hear a response.
Right.
You know?
Hi,
hey.
how you doing? Da, 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 da,
intermission.
Yeah.
And then picture number 4. Ugh. And again, this is another example. This is an example of I got from Elon Musk's website, showing what they're envisioning for a relay satellite and what they're able to do and put these up around Mars.
That looks like an orbiter.
Kind of looks like that.
It's got like an Apollo capsule at the top of it.
Kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So this probably might have a payload in it that they're going to deliver.
Right.
You know, something like that. But one of the other things that they're talking about here, and this is all encompasses in the same issues we have here on Earth, is latency. How many times we come across it and we talk about this in our own real world?
Right.
So if here on Earth we're having issues with latency, can you only imagine, you know, I don't know how many miles away it is to say Mars that they're talking about going to, but gosh, that could be a huge issue.
Right. I mean, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
You know? And until they, like I said, until they solve the qubit thing, then that'll
be a game changer. We keep going back to the qubits.
Yeah, no, because you change the state of one here, and it changes over here, and it doesn't matter the distance.
Yeah.
So we don't know how the universe is connected, is what that says.
Yeah, and they're working on.
Maybe it's a mycelial network.
Okay, you got me with that one there.
That's the Star Trek Discovery.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good old Star Trek news. Speaking of that, there's hypothetical concepts throughout all this that they've been talking about. And one of those is, again, here on Enterprise, warp drive.
Yeah.
Warp drive, along with it, is able for us to be able to go past the speed of light, right?
Right.
But that would also entail the ability for our communications devices to do the same.
Right.
In some essence. So those are hypothetical things they're working on. The wormhole theory, you know, that's out there that they're working on as well. Now, those are probably so far off from where we're at. If they're ever conceptualized into reality, I don't know.
Right.
You know, but they're out there.
I mean, it's neat to think about. And there's, you know, a lot of science fiction has come true. And, you know, our understanding of the physical world and physics itself is always evolving.
Sure.
So I'm sure that there are things that, you know, the mind today can't really conceive that become reality later, in a quest to solve a problem, which is why space exploration is so valuable, I think. Whether and not just space exploration, but like deep sea exploration. You know, we're built as humans to go and to seek, right?
Sure.
And it allows us to solve problems by seeking out the unknown. There are a lot of unintended inventions that come out of, you know, like the space race. You know, we got Teflon, we got Velcro. You know, there are a lot of things. There's a lot of technology that was developed as a direct result of the space race. Tang.
The nectar of the gods. You know, good old Tang. No, but you're right. And part of that is the upgrades in communications. And why?
Right.
Because they had to solve the problems of those communications in space, you know, exploration.
Right.
Just like, for instance, years ago, we actually had cabling that was used on the space shuttles.
Right.
Okay. Through NASA, through all that time. So we understand where our world was at that time and where we could help benefit with the cabling we produce here at Gruber,
Right.
you know, with, you know, NASA and so forth going forward. Now we're into all these other realms. You know, I just sold some cabling to a company that's doing space exploration,
Okay.
you know, recently here. And we're seeing more and more of that across the board.
Yeah.
And not only the cabling, you have fiber optics. Fibers just continues to explode and excel in these
Fiber's
areas.
where it's at. That's the bottom line. I mean, there's always going to be a role for copper, but as the adoption rate continues to go up exponentially on fiber, because they're not going to run out of glass.
No,
right?
We have enough resources for glass
Right?
for who knows how long. That's going to.
They don't have to mine glass; you make glass, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's really, I think the best medium for that kind of stuff.
Sure. And I really think that we're learning so much in regards to the harsh environment that's going to be able to help us out here on Earth with our communications cabling and the jackets that are used. You know, how do we create this fiber with a jacket with, have resistance to gamma rays and so forth and all this that's out there.
Right.
Because here on Earth, we're protected, right? We have our layers over us, our ozone layer, the whole bit that helps protect us from a lot of that radiation and those, environmental concerns.
Right.
But when you're out in open space, you don't have that.
Right.
And so even though we can do our best to put them inside of a capsule or something like that, you're still dealing with these environments.
Right.
Well, those environments are also, areas here on Earth that we have to deal with too. Like you're saying, deep sea exploration. Okay, how do we get glass that won't implode at a certain level of depth?
Right.
Because of the pressures. So there's I'm sure all those concerns that we're taking a look at down there that would also apply above us as well.
Right. Right. Exactly. And it's always a challenge to figure that stuff out and understand. First you have to understand the problem before you can fix it. So just seeing the reaction to an environment is one thing, but understanding the why and then solving it is really the crux of how that ends up contributing to our evolution, as humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our understanding of our universe. So when you start challenging ideas and, get to the table and say, no idea is too stupid, right? Throw it all out there. And then you find out, there's some pretty big dreamers out there who can come up with some crazy stuff that completely workable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we, that's where we are. We test theories all the time and see if they stand up under scrutiny, under environmental conditions, whatever. I think it's great.
Yeah. And I'm glad there's people out there that can deal with things like quantum physics.
Yeah, sure.
That I can't. I'll be honest with you. That is not within my wheelhouse. Not up here.
Yeah. It takes a lot. I hate, not me either, but it takes a lot of schooling and a lot of practice, a lot of work to get where they are. But that's, thank God for them. We benefit from all of that knowledge and all of the stuff that practically comes into everyday life as a result of it.
Sure.
The internet and the continued expansion of fiber internet, is a direct result of that.
Yeah. And then coming into now laser-based communications,
right.
and exploring that realm and where it's going. So you got fiber. Now we're going to laser-based. One of the big other issues I noticed with laser-based, I was reading a little bit about, was the fact of it has to still be line of sight.
Right.
So now you get out into space and you have this laser-based communication system. Well, there's things that will affect that. Gravitational pulls. You have debris in the area. You have, whether it's space debris, asteroids,
right.
Our own debris field with so much space junk.
Yeah, it can be obscured.
So you got to figure out, how do we make this work, and how do we accept the challenges of being obscured out there, and what are those results?
Right.
And how does that affect the transmission? All these things are key elements, but this exploration we're talking about is going to help us to improve our communications here as well.
Right.
And so I just see this as a win-win going forward, and with all the exploration they're doing in regards to this technologies.
Right, exactly. And so I think the lesson today is that if fiber optics isn't in your wheelhouse yet, don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
Embrace it, especially end users, installers, learn it, because it's where things are going. And there's high value to it. And I think cost is not significantly higher.
No, it's really not
than copper.
Yeah.
Right. And copper, like I said, it's a commodity, so it fluctuates. But it has to be mined, and not so much with the fiber.
No. And again, fiber is the way it's going. We see a lot of it in our industry and what we produce here.
Right.
Gosh, we manufacture a lot of fiber assemblies.
We do. That's a lot of what I do.
Back there,
yeah.
Like, whoa. And that's something I can't do. I don't have what it takes to put that stuff together. Does that make sense?
Right. No. Yeah.
So kudos to our team who can manufacture those, because that's not something that's in my wheelhouse either.
Right. And they're, made so for, fiber patch cables, they have to be epoxied, they have to be polished, because that end has to be,
it has
no occlusion. Yeah, no occlusions.
No.
And then it's tested, it's scoped.
Yep.
To make sure that each cable is clear.
Yeah, all of our cables are tested 100%, and our fiber optic cables do come with the actual test results in the bag as well that we put in there.
Yeah.
So you know that they are good, tried, true, and tested, and ready to go for you.
That's it. Nothing worse than plugging it in and not working.
Right? Yeah, no, that is a bummer.
Right.
Want that. So I'm hoping that, come futuristically speaking,
right,
that we know now we're at a point where we can get the communications at the speed of light. That was a bit of a time coming, but we've been there for a while. We know that. So studying and understanding how, we know that's the limitation. We can't go past that. So
right,
understanding how we're going to work with the data packets, the relays, and control some of that latency is just really where this is all at right now at this point.
And underwater, if my understanding is correct, the most efficient means of transmission underwater is actually like what they call the ELF, extra low frequency band waves, or radio waves.
Sure.
For that medium, because light's not going to work.
No.
And higher cycle sound waves don't work, but ELF is how subs communicate.
Yeah.
So, it depends on your medium. It depends on the environment as to what's going to work best and how quickly it works.
Yeah.
Because ELF is slow, the slow bandwidth.
It's slow, but if it works and it serves that particular purpose, then it's fine.
Right. Well, it's the only way right now.
It's eventually they're going to have to find a way. I mean, but the minds are working on it. So all these people.
I just wonder how the aliens communicate underwater. When they crash their ships in the ocean and they're down there, what do they do? Anyway,
I don't know. Just put on a tinfoil hat and won't bother you.
Well, we didn't get any comments today, John.
That's one of those days. It's okay.
Did we not ask for any? We probably didn't ask for them.
They're probably out there in space somewhere right now.
That's it.
Taken out there.
Yeah, everybody's withered from the heat.
So let me ask everybody here. We'll start with Cass. Cass.
Hello.
Yeah, you're going to join the space exploration to become one of the first humans on Mars. You can take your bike up there. You can be the first person to ride your bike on Mars.
If I could take my bike with me, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Would you if you could?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
You would do it. Right.
Well, why not?
I don't know that I would.
I'm
I'm kind of claustrophobic, so sitting in a little capsule,
for 3
making
years.
the trip there,
Yeah,
that'd be a tough one for me.
Yeah, that would be a bit much. It would have to be a ship, not a capsule.
Thank you. What about you, Jesse? Would you take the trip to Mars?
No, not until they figure out the tech.
The
First few trips there, people are going to be getting irradiated like crazy, and I'm not about that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You don't trust Elon, huh?
That's a tough way to go.
It would be a very tough way to go, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be. Like I was saying, I don't know. I mean, what you have to endure in that trip, being in a capsule that's limited in space, and I can't imagine how lonely it would become, even if you have co-passengers with you.
I think that's why they're going to send 3 to begin with, because they're probably going to have all kinds of measuring instruments along the way to see, what actually.
There's stuff we don't know about out there, man.
I'm
all of our stuff beyond like a few thousand miles of our planet is all theoretical.
Are you worried?
Isn't Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are still out there, and they're still giving us signals back, and they are in deep space by now.
True.
So they're giving us some information, but I know because of the time period when those were manufactured, we didn't have this type of technology. So we're very limited on the technology that's coming back to us from them, but they're still operational after all these years.
Right.
So who knows?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to wrap it up. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share this podcast. We appreciate you being here as always. For now, I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and thank you.
Stay cool.